So I think it's fair to say, like David Dickinson's Tan, I take you by surprise every single time. How are you doing and how have you been? My name's Tazastical, this is Rimworld, let's get to it. So we've got a lot of things to talk about today, we've got a lot of problems, a lot of potential breakdowns. However, at least we start off the episode with everyone being slightly happy, even though Ericsson is sort of covered in bandages, sort of ruining the vibes of the colony. First thing we're going to talk about is obviously work schedules. We're going to move Macy back to growing, as obviously we have a lot of growing space. We're going to need 2 full-time growers. Alpin especially is going to have to help Samford actually get this power online, which is going to be the main goal of this episode. You know, episode 42, and we're trying to get power on. You can see we're progressing. Ericsson good, drug making blocks. I'm hoping Ericsson will actually have some time to research. However, we have put him on mining and obviously got these steel bits over here for him to mine, just because we're going to need steel for power conduits. Luckily, power conduits are only 1 steel a piece, so it's not too bad. What we're also going to do is actually take everyone off firefighting for the time being. Instead of fighting with them and what zones they're in, I think it'd probably be a more productive use of our time to just take them off. Because it's constantly raining, because we have 2 forced weather controllers making it thunderstorm on us. Yes, 2. They're mech clusters, so you'll excuse me if I'm not keen on sorting them out. And another thing, I didn't even realise, like, you're going to have to point out, like, when this even happened. But we got psychic suppression, meaning everyone's consciousness down to 50%, which means everyone's movement down to 50%. Meaning everyone's productivity is, like, down to 50%. It's pretty grim. However, it's down here, it's got 4 enemies. I'm pretty sure this is just, like, people, but even that 4 enemies isn't crazy. So that's another thing that we need to prepare for. So before we all do all the fancy dancy stuff, while we're still on speed 1 going through story time, let's get on this stove. So the first thing we want to do is obviously get our travelling food that we're going to potentially have. Now we're going to queue up quite a lot, so let's do 570. And then I basically want this always full, because if we need to go anywhere, I want to make sure there's as much as possible to be able to, you know, go everywhere. We'll have it under, like, the simple meals and fine meals, because hopefully they'll be done first, and then that can be done. Then we've got obviously a food situation problem, as always. Like, let's be honest, like, I think every time I, like, come in, it's like, oh, another food problem, wow. Colour me surprised. Well, don't be surprised. That will get fixed with obviously Alpin and Macy both on growing. Another thing I want to do up here is, 1, sort out that zone, because that does nothing for my OCD. Disallow cutting here, because we're going to have to cut a lot of trees, which is quite sad. The reason why is because, as we can see, this wind turbine is blocked by a palm tree. Not quite sure why I deconstructed that wall, but we are going to replace it. Limestone down there. We will have to double wall it. We need to get... The problem is we just need to get a lot up, and we don't have the colonists to do it. Batteries, we're not going to deconstruct them, because you do actually lose resources through deconstructing stuff and then rebuilding it. I don't know how much it is, but you do lose a bit. However, with batteries we can reinstall it. So we're going to reinstall it here, and our batteries are going to live in the mines. And then we'll just wall it off quite nicely. That will do. Wooden doors to them, obviously, because wooden doors are the quickest. And then if we come in here, power conduits, and we'll just run a power conduit all the way down there. That will be kushti. And then last but not least, make sure it's under roof, because otherwise it's obviously going to set on fire, and generally it's going to be a bad time for everyone. Smoke leaf wise, we've got 25 joints. We'll go through that pretty quickly, it's safe to say. So it's not going to be massive priority. Now, because we have no power, we're actually going to pause the game and think what we're going to do with food. I lie. I know what I'm going to do. I just like to slightly put it in suspense. Is we are going to build a little campfire. Now, it's not the best way to do. To be fair, I could probably just build the campfire in, like, the fridge bit. And Alpin's going to do that. So, we're not going to be able to get power up today, probably not tomorrow, just because of the length, like, all these power conduits, all the way up to the turbine, we're going to have to place, like, it's just going to be a pain. So let's get our campfire, and then we can make some meals there. So at least people aren't eating raw meals and getting negative through that way. We will have to manually harvest these corn, however I want them a little bit more grown before we do that so we can get a little bit more yield out of it. Other than that, the last bit of story time, Jesus, story time's going on a long time today. Let's have a look at Stomp the Prisoner. Stomp the Prisoner, resistance is 1, so that's probably going to be 2 more chats to get rid of resistance, then 1 more to recruit. Could be really good, really productive member potentially. Slothful's a bit boring just because work speed is down, but you know, beggars can't always be choosers, and we might be able to get back to having a full-time hauler and cleaner. That being said, I think it's time for a bit of speed free, a bit of luck, and a bit of gentle caressing as you watch this content. Right, here we go, and we can see our busy bees going. Luckily, Alpin is obviously going to do the campfire. That's going to be the biggest thing to do. Is Alpin coming to... Yes, cool. That's going to be the biggest thing so we can make sure we got food. Making sure nothing else is obviously going to be a mad rush. Okay, there we go. So first thing we need to do is then queue up. I think because of our lack of food, we're just going to do 1 meal at a time, which obviously isn't the most efficient. However, you know, this isn't going to be the be-all and end-all. I'll do like 13 and unpause at... How many is 6? So we need to have like... Unpause at 12... 12, 24, and 25, and then unpause at 12. And that should be fine. No meat. And that should be cool. So, at least then Cookie? Her name's Smarty. You can see where my mindset was at. But, luckily that means obviously then foods can be made, because they're eating raw foods. And we're going to have a lot of negatives, because everyone's going to get sweaty modifiers, because the coolers are down. The darkness modifiers because all the lights are down. So the moods that we can fix at any point, we're going to need to make sure we do. Running out of food really quickly because obviously just eating raw corn on its own isn't the most glamorous or useful. So what I'm going to do is then get Alpin to manually... Not manually, but micro him to actually harvest these corn now. So then we can start moving them in. So he'll be a busy bee and do that, and we will thank him for it. Macy, on the other hand, I think she probably needs to clear this wind turbine for when we actually... no, I don't want you to do that. For when we actually have the ability... No, I don't want to do that either. When we actually have the ability... I'll get my words out in a minute, don't worry. When we have the ability to actually get power to it. Sanford smoking joints, how are we doing? We've still got a lot of joints. That's good. As you can see, we're sort of telling everyone what to do. This one's going to be a little bit more annoying because I'm going to have to right-click basically every power conduit coming down, which is a bit annoying. I wish there was a better way of doing this. However, we need power, so we need to just... The problem is obviously these bugs. You know, if these bugs choose to attack us while all this is going, like, this could be a lot of work that gets destroyed rather quickly. However, getting power on is going to improve people's moods so quickly. It's just sort of, we can't ignore it. You know, episode 42, however many hours in, we can't now suddenly be having power problems. We just can't. It's that simple, to be honest. Smarty, I'd rather you start cooking at campfire. Whoa. Sometimes the game... Oh no, the bugs are coming. I was about to say, sometimes the game gets a bit jumpy as the bugs move. So that's sort of how I know when they're coming. I don't know what agitated them that time. Oh, I really didn't want to move Sanford because then I'll have to re-queue all of Sanford's like work priorities. Sanford's going to get attacked. Oh, that's annoying. That's set us back just for the pure simple fact that then I've got to re-queue all of Sanford's work that she was just doing, which is miserable to say the least. Like, okay, Alpin is harvesting that. What is Macy doing? Macy is sleeping. I don't think I'm okay with that. We have the campfire, so I'm not too bothered, although... Alpin, what are you doing, my man? No, you need to come down and harvest this. Like, I wonder if because I changed zones, he stopped doing it altogether. So let's get him to harvest the cornfield, and let's queue up all these, and I'll catch you in a hot second. Right, there we go, Buffalo Soldiers. Let's get it on. Happy with the progress we're making. Happy we're obviously keeping an eye on stuff. There are gaps in the walls here that I am of increasing concern, but I don't know. Sort of damned if you do and damned if you don't in this situation, because every... No, we're going to carry on as we are. We're going to let Alpin harvest the field. We've got an eclipse. I suppose that's the good thing about having a wind turbine. Eclipse isn't really like a massive problem. Right, Smarty, come and start cooking at campfire. Alpin's nearly done down here, and then we'll get Alpin on the wall situation. Build the wall! Okay, and then we'll get Alpin to build some of this wall. Probably not all of it. But we've got to get started at some point. I think what we'll do is we'll probably not deconstruct that wall. And then that will be the start of our like curve round. So actually Alpin, I think it would be more important you actually building that. Because then it gives us that little protection. So when the bugs come in here, they won't be straight in our base. And let's just start to wall off that, because we do need to just be aware these bugs just don't want to be friendly with us, that's for sure. Okay, Smarty's cooking meals. It's just taking her a while, bless her. Like, obviously she's doing one meal at a time, but with our limited resources, at least one person isn't eating raw food, you know what I mean? Like, the words are just tripping me today. Okay, Alpin, I know you're smoking, but can you just finish that wall just for peace of mind? Lovely, lovely, lovely. Good job. Everything's going well. Making some nice, tidy progress. Watching Sanford's mood. Obviously, we've queued up quite a lot for Sanford to do. Let's draft, undraft. That's fine, Sanford. I don't want mood breaks. Got to try and avoid mood breaks as best as possible. So I don't want to push people too far. That being said, obviously, the longer the electricity is down, the more problems that we're going to have. Macy, what are you doing? You're still cutting down trees, which is obviously making people sad. Okay, there we go. So Macy's done with the trees. Perfect, perfect. Good job, Macy. Now you're going to go consume corn, which is just going to make you even more miserable, but is what it is. War merchant coming in. Not good. They're going to annoy the bugs. At least they're doing it at night then, I suppose. I just don't want the bugs to destroy our wind turbines. That would be pretty miserable, not going to lie, not going to lie. Okay, some components were mined out. That's actually quite good. I'm not against that. I'm just sort of looking around. I just want to be as careful as possible, because I'm starting to learn, as we're living with these bugs, everything we do needs to be under fine comb. Do you know what I mean? Like, good is making drugs. Perfect. Right, where's this war merchant coming? Like, is there any way? Gather spot. I wish there was a way to, like, tell them not to come near here, but hey. Because it would just be nice, like, the bugs not to get triggered every single time. Like, even hang out in our little bit up here, which it actually looks like they're going to do. That's quite funny. Psychic suppressor. No, we don't get enough to have 2 psychic suppressors. The thing is, we need to get electric up to be able to build the resources to obviously go sort out the psychic suppression that we have. I don't really want it set up for too long. Okay, there's a couple of meals, so at least a couple of people aren't going to break down utterly. I don't think we have a horseshoe pin. I don't want people to get bored. I can't see that we have one. So I will just queue up that. Samford. I know you're loving Alpin at the minute. draft undraft, I want you to go build that horseshoe pin straight away, just to give people some recreation, or some variety in it. It's just I'm seeing Smarty and Ericsson's the ones. Okay, Stomp's gone berserk. Poor mood. Problem is, Alpen's got a sword. Ericsson's got a gun. Smarty's got grenades. That might be a little bit overkill for a prison escape. I don't really want to shoot you, but I don't really want to get hurt by you. So I think we are going to have to shoot Stomp as Stomp comes out the door, sadly. I know that has obviously the potential to kill Stomp. But the problem with Stomp, if he hurts one of our colonists, then we sort of go back to square one in the sense that, you know, someone's injured, someone's down, they're not able to work. Okay, luckily Stomp didn't die, even though he got mashed by shotguns and whatnot. He's going to die in 7 hours though, so that's pretty grim. Alpen, can you come build this door? So, because the door's not up, can we actually take him in the prison capture? Should be able to. Because he can't walk, so the door shouldn't matter too much, like logically you would think. Okay, this caravan hasn't gone over the bugs yet, so we're still relatively safe. He goes back into the bed. Okay, like, cleanliness is a problem that will obviously decrease people's moods. So I think we'll lower that, and then we'll get good going around cleaning the camp. I think that's the best thing we could be doing. Because I am seeing the bases getting pretty dirty, which would just make everyone miserable. And rightly so, you know. Could you imagine, like, standing in vomit as you're, like, doing your job? Like, that's pretty tragic. Health-wise, just making sure Stomp is getting the proper treatment so you're not going to die. Death in 8 hours, death in 15, cool, you're getting healed. We're going slowly, but the most important thing is we are going. Right. Sanford, you can get some of this wall up, or at least get that brick. It would just make me feel better. There we go. Then Sanford, mood is high, so let's queue up some of these power conduits. Saying that, what I should do is just go into the power screen and then it sort of shows you. The problem is then every time you click you lose it again. But it's just a pain to sort of see through the wall, like the bits of the power conduit that you're actually missing. And we're, to be fair, we're missing them all. Which is pretty magical, I have to admit. Okay, at least we have a campfire. Obviously food is becoming a problem. Rice is coming along. We're not growing any corn, which is of huge concern. The problem is, if I click sowing on Alpen, he'll just do that one bit. Like, when you eat that corn, what is your next protocol? You're harvesting a bamboo tree. Why? Is there a grow zone there? There is. That was weird. Okay. So now if I draft undraft, now you're going to do the corn. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. That's not really going to fix our food problems. We do have a trade. Smarty's quite good, aren't you? Yeah, Smarty. So you come and chat to them. Because they might have that pelican food where we can get away with it for a couple of episodes at least. I say that with no form of any faith. And they do actually. Ha ha ha! Right, as always, we sell the stuff that we don't want because then that just gives us the ultimate amount of money. And then we see what we want, which is basically all food, I think we can all agree. Like, unless you want to see my colonists starve, then in that fact, like, I shouldn't accept any food and we'll just see how we go. No, not components. So how much of this? So we can't take it all, sadly, but it looks like we can actually take a fair whack of it. 155, 100, and I am going to like mid-max this as close as possible. So 165. So we'll take that to the bank. Can't actually see it. I think it's there. Right, everyone looks like they're running over to get it. Because it's a bit of actual food. Food, what's this? Can't remember the last time we had food. Okay, Ericsson I'm going to take off mining for the time being. The reason why I'm going to do that is because it's just going to make people miserable on top of being already miserable. And it's just going to keep stacking, so we do need to be like ultra careful here. So I think it's fair to say, like David Dickinson's tan, I take you by surprise every single time. Although if you haven't seen that man's tan, then give that man a Google, Jesus. Just make sure your brightness on your screen is down, like... You might take like a retina out, like if you're not careful. It's pretty tragic. Okay, I think it's going okay. Apart from the, you know, the starvation that's coming across everyone in the colony, apart from that. The thing is, if we would have focused too much on just getting the power, we wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the other fidgety bits. And we've got to remember that that's not the only problem. And getting that campfire, while only a few meals have been made off it, it's been just enough to stop breakdowns. And breakdowns are what kill a colony. Because the breakdowns, they'll either walk into the bugs, generally stop working, food binges, drug binges, and all that means is it takes resources away from the colony and just harms us, no doubt. Like goods going around cleaning, that'll improve people's moods, and people are okay mood-wise. Okay, Macy, what are you doing? What I'm going to do with these grow zones is actually not allow sowing for the time being. Now, the reason why I've done that is because I want the rice and the cornfields to be prioritised. Because really, we need them, like, sown by now. We need them full, ready to go. Because the rice will get us out of a little bit of a jam, but it will probably be like 2 or 3 rice harvests before we actually get to the corn. So it is important that obviously this rice field is getting filled. You know, as much as possible. So there is a plan. Like it's not always clear, but there is a plan. Okay, Sanford, what are you doing? You're playing horseshoes. I'm going to let you finish, let you get your wreck. Colonist needs treatment. Whenever that is like that, I'm always super concerned. Why are the bugs angry? Do you know what? There's no pleasing some people. That went fine, that went fine. I don't mind if they destroy that wall. Okay, so Stomp will be recruited next time someone talks to them. I wonder if it's because that panther. That looks fresh. I'm still waiting for someone in the comments to actually work out why these bugs go aggro every now and then. I don't think it's us. I honestly don't think it's us. It's something else that's agitating them. I'm like 2% sure on that. Saying that their food stocks are dwindling, my lord. But, you know, none of them are starving to death. I wonder if they could starve to death. That would be interesting. And then what that means... Because would they get agitated? Because that would technically be like them having a bad mood modifier. That interesting thought. No, it's probably a scary thought. Please don't waste your time Sanford, like building a roof like in between here. I literally just want a roof over this bit. That'd be great. Sanford, I am going to queue up some of these power conduits. If we look at power... Yeah, we're still not getting it up quick enough, are we? Yeah, I think we're going to have to... I love how that was what we were prioritising. The thing is, we're just making sure moods aren't breaking, do you know what I mean? Smoke leaf going in the bin. Please get that smoke leaf so it doesn't deteriorate. That's 21. 21. Okay, Alpin is sewing. I'm going to have to let him do that. Macy really doesn't look like she's pulling her weight. She might have to have like an annual review or something. Like, I'm extremely disappointed. And I think on that note of starvation is probably the right time to do it. If you got to this part of the video, leave a like, leave a sub, leave a comment. And I'll catch you next time, party people. Bye.